And so I begin again. The internet sometimes acts up, but I'm dealing with it. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I bet might be able to get 30 minutes in. If not 30, an hour, if I'm lucky. So, to recap previous mission, it has turned out that there are several locations. I kind of had the feeling that it wouldn't be as simple as Evesham and Burlington. There had to be another station in between. And so Chesterfield was introduced. And I said, okay, if the entire game is Burlington, Chesterfield, and Evesham, then that's fine. Because now I know exactly where the crime might have happened, either between Burlington and Chesterfield, or Chesterfield and Evesham. Because I knew from the beginning of the game, there's no way if a line was going all the way from Burlington to Evesham, somewhere along the path, some funny business could not have happened. In order to create an illusion of a fake train, you have to have time, and the time it takes to get from one train station to the next is more than enough time, but not time enough to build a fake train. So it had to be done previous day, a rush job, maybe previous day, the whole 24 hours, and it had to be done during a time period where everyone is sleeping and no one's working. So it had to be like an overnight job because echoes travel, especially in an empty, abandoned area in plains where there are not interruptions of buildings and other stuff like trees and stuff to block it. Yes, trees make great disguises, especially tall grass and trees, for you to make noise because the noise of the wind through the trees uh, cut off a lot of the internal noise, as well as noise on water. Um, Either way, it would have to be done during the night, but thankfully, my suspicions are correct. The only thing I'm not correct about is the beach. I didn't think that there were going to be a beach in this game, but that's giving me Disco Elysium vibes, as in the criminal was located across from the mainland, which is interesting. Now, that is not really spoilers, because I'm not exactly going to say exactly where, but if anyone does play that game, they will get what I'm trying to say. Because the game has a nice way of doing things that it doesn't divulge all the things all at once at the beginning. It progresses over time, and same happens here. Things are progressing over time. It's like this part of the game, unlike Black Peter, wants you to figure out what's going on before it happens. Now you can play the game simply to enjoy the game, or you could play the game to investigate on your own and then have Sherlock Holmes give you the information. Some people just play for the enjoyment. I don't see the point in that. Like, oh, I like mystery games, but like the whole point of mystery games is for you to solve the mystery before the mystery. Whether it's a board game, whether it's an actual mystery game you and your friends decide to play, um, as a live action role playing type of thing, LARPing, um, whether it's a video game or anything, or even reading a book. The book reader wants you to figure out what's going on before it happens. So to just play it just because you like mystery games kind of make you a kind of an average, enjoyable person for something which everyone has the right to. But at the same time, be like, it kind of falls into the category of you're not really into mystery. You're just into the bravado of mystery, you know. And that's all there is to it. Like, what's the point of investigating something in an investigation story if you're not part of that equation? You're just there along for the ride. Mystery games aren't like roller coasters, or mystery stories aren't like roller coasters. They only give you the roller coasters, part of the entertainment. The creator, the reader, wants you to figure certain things out. It's like, what's the point of making a mystery if you don't want your reader to figure out? Psycho killer, so on and so forth. The whole idea is to get caught, or if not to get caught, but to see how they could outwit their opponents. Yeah, so I don't know. I always found it funny when people play certain type of games, action, role-playing, fighting games, and they're not invested in the thing that they're into, they claim to be into. It's weird how they just breeze past things. Um, it's not really weird. It's obvious as hell. They do it for external reasons that have nothing to do with what they actually claim to like, and it's a sign of bullshittery. Yeah, they make all the money, they do all the things they want, they live their life, and eventually in the end they win and get what they want. But the problem with that, they also get something else. They're now tagged for the rest of their life as a type of person, so they cannot ever escape that fate. And that's a real thing. It's not an illusion. It's not something I'm making up. It's real. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is tagged as a certain type of person. P. Diddy's tagged as a certain type of person due to their actions. Donald Trump is tagged as a certain type of person due to his actions. It doesn't matter what he does later on in his life and who his family are and what he does and who are closest to him on his deathbed when such time comes. His name will forever be tagged in history, such as all these other people. So whether they believe or care or anything or their families does not change the fact that they are now tagged in history and they can never untag themselves. It's just the way it is. So it doesn't matter if they care, they're tagged regardless. Same for streamers. You can never untag yourself once you put that tag on yourself. You can try to undo it and make up certain things. You know, do the whole Solomon thing of being an evil man turned a good man. But it would never go away. And the story here is, I have two things left. Examine the side rails branch between that. I'm going to do that. The beach will have to wait. So I think I'm at Dorchester right now. Donchester. Yeah, Doncaster. Okay. Now the directions for which we're supposed to go. I see some people play this game and it's no commentary, but I always find it funny. Like, some people want to actually see a video where no one is talking, so they could actually enjoy it. But that's the whole purpose, so they can enjoy it. And some people want to watch a video where other people solve the mystery. Here's the flood. The water is rising pretty high. It's easy to have a train fall into this lake, but you would have to make sure to set up the rails, remove the rails from its original position, and then put some rails so the train could go directly into the lake. So that would make sense why they stole the rails from Evesham Shed. Build the rails to make the rails go in a certain directions to follow through the mines possibly, and then from the mines go into the water. But that would take two teams. One team is to fool the people regards to the fake train, and the other team just to derail and build tracks at two locations. One leading to the mines and the other from the mines leading into the water. Now that's just a theory, but my guess is that the original train got lost at the railway switch location. As I said at the beginning of the game, the train could have either disappeared in between both Burlington and Evesham in the first video, but it had to be disappeared at two forks in roads. The first fork, which would be over here, and the second fork, which would be over here. Now if it was the first fork, and it could have diverged and gone north into a cave area. It turns out the cave area is not really a cave area. It's just a deep water, empty area. And the deep water, empty area eventually spilled out from the lake because something fell into it or was pushed into it, and that water came and flooded onto the empty, corroded area or empty marsh area. That wasn't a cave, so it wasn't a cave leading downwards. In the beginning video, it was just an empty plain area that you could basically walk into, and the flood from the lake poured into the area. That's why the whole water area looks blue now, because one area was the lake, and the flood came from that lake into the area and filled it up. So the only thing I was really wrong about is assuming that empty area was kind of like a cave type thing. But I knew the train had to go into either a cave or into some type of place, either up or down. Didn't know where. Turns out it was a mine. Yeah. So I was mostly right about many things in the game. The only thing I was wrong about is the design that of possibly a downward spiral cave, and the possible criminal of this story being one company versus another, which is, I don't think I'm wrong about that either. So I'm only wrong about one thing. So I'm going to check out this beach, but I think it wants me to follow the path between Evesham. I think here.
This railway branch should lead to the quarry. Let us take a look.
So at Donchester, there seems to be a breakaway. And the quarry is here. Okay, so the enemy ransacked the Evesham shed, and then also went to Doncaster and ransacked train parts from here as well, and went to the mining area and ransacked train tracks from the mining area as well. And then they build then they build the tracks when the train was coming from Burlington, somewhere right between the rail switch location, and they build it either going towards the mine, into the mine, and then they removed it after the mine to lead from the mine to go to the beach, or to make the train go into the water so it floods and go over. So that's my theory. Whoever these people are, were paid by someone. These diggers, these Spanish diggers or Mexican diggers that deal with train tracks, decided to be paid in advance to acquire tracks from the Evesham shed, but it wasn't enough to make sure the tracks fit and go to where they want to go to. So they went also to Doncaster and took tracks from there at Doncaster, either at night or ridiculous early morning, but I believe it was overnight when no one's there. Probably did the same thing at Chesterfield, but I didn't see any missing tracks at Chesterfield. And let's say they took it from Doncaster and from Evesham, and then they built the tracks connecting empty track railways to go directly into the mines. And once the track went into the mines, or the train diverged and went into the mines, they then removed said tracks from the mines, or they didn't remove said tracks from the mines. They built mines tracks before the mine and after the mines on the other side, and then they removed the tracks thereafter to be reused again at another location, possibly leading to the beach, or making sure the evidence that they took, the tracks, are buried into the water. So there's two things that could be buried in that lake. One, all the remaining tracks, or two, the train itself. So once they finished their objective and got what they want, the prototype, they discard anything related to themselves. It's like they want people to know that they did it, or maybe it's a time discretion thing. They don't have time to fool anyone, so we can only do this one shot, and once we're gone, it's over with. So we can't put things back in place. So that's what's going on. So here,
The railway ends here. That is strange.
it's not strange, Sherlock. You saw it at the mine as well. So here's why. Also, what I think. Um, the water wasn't high. The water only the place only flooded once something was thrown into the lake area, and the tracks went straight past into this empty area that led either to the mine or led around the empty area. So who knows? It seems I'll take my chances on my first belief. Okay, so that's that.
The rail is rusted and looks old, but the railway is still usable. The rail is rusted and looks old, but the railway is still usable.
What should we do next, Holmes?
The switch is rusted, but it still works.
Okay, we have several things here. Flooded quarry. That's the least of my problems. Doncaster telegram. The Doncaster telegram. The Doncaster station master reported by telegraph the arrival and departure of vanished train. So he reported the arrival and departure. Did he see it? No. Okay. Doncaster master received money. The Doncaster master is a gambler, a horse race gambler, and he received money. That's his Achilles. He's a gambler. That's not that. So he received money from strangers, believing he'll make his luck on a horse race, send money to his lawyer and his ex-wife.